Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. I'm so excited to have you join us back for another great episode. And I hope that you've enjoyed the episodes that we've shared so far. And if you have, I would love if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and let us know what you think. And if you have any questions or if there's anyone that you want to nominate to be on the podcast and someone that you're inspired by, feel free to jump over to our website, howdidyoulearntodothat.com, and fill out the nomination form to have them be on the podcast as well. Make sure you watch out for our course that will be launching in October and let us know what you think. And if there's any questions that you have, feel free to send me an email, info@howdidyoulearntodothat.com, and I'll make sure I reach out to you and answer all your questions. And I'm so excited to have this course shared with students. It'll help them not only connect with themselves to understand who they are as a person and what they want in life, but it also gives them strategies and tips and guidance so that they can position themselves to become the successful candidate. But not only that, but the tips and the guidance that will be shared by me personally will actually transcend into their career and into their life and everything that they do from that moment forward. So it's a great course, and I hope that I had that. And actually, I'll say I wish I had this course when I started, but I had to learn all of this on my own. So I should talk about that. So I share how I was able to actually secure a job before I even graduated, and how I was able to move from an administrative entry level position into management in a matter of 6 months. So if you want to know, and if you're interested, or if there's someone in your family you want to gift this to who's a new graduate, let me know. I would love to have them become a beta tester for me. I'm still looking for a couple beta testers. So send me an email with their information or your information if you are interested, and I'll have you join the beta testing list. And if you do get a special price on the course. But not only that, I'm giving away 3 free courses to anyone that joins my beta testing list as a thank you for helping me validate the content in the course and providing your insight and your information with me. So today we're going to have Alexis on the podcast, and Alexis is an amazing individual, and I can't wait for you to hear more about her and from her. She'll be sharing a lot about her story, how she got to where she is, the challenges she had to overcome, and how she just had to believe in herself. And that was always the first and foremost thing that allowed her to do what she wants to do and to create the life that she's always dreamed of creating. So I can't wait for you to hear Alexis. And in the meantime, make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you have any questions, let me know. You can email me at info@howdidyoulearntodothat.com and share with your family and your friends about our podcast. And so we can help grow this community. Okay, so stay tuned for Alexis coming up shortly. Hi, everyone. I would love to welcome Alexis here. So Alexis Albright Meschi is a brand strategist and a photographer who helps women build their brand using strategy and soul. Using her unique framework of customized brand building, she's leading a revolution of women in all stages and phases in life who have decided to stop playing small and own their unique strengths and step out in confidence. You can find Alexis on Instagram, on her website, her blog, as well as on Facebook. And I'll link all of those on the show notes for you on the website. And I would love to have you give a warm welcome to Alexis. And thank you for joining me today on the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I think that our journey is so important. It makes up the heart of really who we are and what we're doing. And I think that a lot of times we don't give it enough power or say. So I'm really excited to be on your podcast to share part of my story that led me to where I am today.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm so excited to have you on because I know we've connected through Instagram, and a lot of what you share is so powerful and so inspiring, and I can't wait for everybody to hear what you have to say. So I'll let you take it over, and I wanted to ask you how you got started in your journey and what led you into the work that you do now.
Yeah, so I'm excited to share that with you today. So I feel like if I had like a title to a book or a title to what I do, it'd be called Lessons from a Quitter, because there were so many things in my life that I failed at And I don't mean things that I was like trying really hard and ended up not doing well. I was a classic, honestly, like a classic failure in so many ways, a classic quitter who was really not interested in performing my best in any way. And where I've come today, I really believe like all the things that led me and all the ways that I've quit and failed over the years have really led me to the woman that I am today. And it's really helped me pursue my passion of helping other women that have decided to stop playing small and to really lead this revolution of women who are willing to accept where they're at. So I did terribly in school. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I come from an amazing family, and I was the black sheep that just wasn't interested in trying hard in anything that I was doing. And it's not that I couldn't, I just didn't care very much. I didn't have a lot of passion for anything that I was learning, for much around me. And ultimately, what that led to was me not feeling confident in who I was as a young girl. I wouldn't say that I was insecure. I was oddly and unnecessarily arrogantly confident, but not in any of my abilities. I just kind of was like, it'll work out at some point. And I really like had that drive who I was truly through like high school and college. I don't know how I even graduated high school. I have no idea how I got into college. I somehow did get into Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, and I just did half effort in everything that I did. There was nothing that I would have said that I felt great at doing. And that led to me being kicked out of college in my 4th year. I didn't make the grades, and I was asked to leave Cal Poly, and I was pretty fine with it, which just goes to show you like where I was at. Soon thereafter, I married my high school sweetheart that I'd known since I was 7 years old. We got married about 6 months after I got kicked out of school. And soon thereafter that we got married, we decided to start a family. And we had our first daughter, and I stopped working, stopped even trying to go to school, and was thrilled. I was like, this is my thing. Being a stay-at-home mom is my thing. This is what I was made to do. I don't have to ever worry about school or like working hard in this professional sphere again. I'm just going to put all of my effort and my work into being a mom. And I am so thankful that I was able to do that. I stayed at home with our girls for 10 years as a stay-at-home mom. And that was one of the joys of my life. During that time, we were poor and we were young, and I needed to get more clothes for our children. And I didn't like have means to like make cute clothes or get cute clothes. And so I started sewing clothes for our kids. At that time, sewing wasn't what it is now. Fabric was reasonably priced. And I started doing this, and I felt so, it was the first time that I felt passion. It was the first time where I'm like, I just put effort into something, and here's the product, and it turned out well. And it started this like fire in me, because I started feeling actually truly confident, where I had had this false sense of confidence and arrogance before in my life. This was like a humbling confidence, and it was rooted in something tangible. And that picked up for me fast. I started doing the kids stuff for my family. And then I started doing some women's things for me. And then I started a blog when like blogging wasn't a thing. And my blog like blew up. And I started designing and sewing women's clothing and selling it online, like before Etsy was even like around, and selling it in stores locally. And it was going so great. I thought I had found my thing. Like, this is what I was like supposed to do with my life. We were looking at manufacturers because I was doing everything on my own. I was asked to audition for Project Runway 2 years in a row. And it was just like the best thing. And I was really started to grow as a woman, like, again, this internal like fire in me, because I felt good about who I was and what I was offering around me. And then another shift in my journey, I ended up substitute teaching at my children's school. My oldest had started in school. I was still at home with the other two kids. And I, in one of my jobs in my past, I had worked at the school that I had gone to school at, and was a teacher's aide and a substitute teacher there for like 2 years. So they needed a sub. It was last minute. I offered to go in and sub. And at the end of the day, I was convinced that I needed to be a teacher. I just knew beyond a doubt that like that is what I needed to do. And I came home and I cried my eyes out because all those old fears about who I was as a student for all those, 18 years, I realized like, I can't do that. Like, I can't, I'm not equipped to do that. Maybe I'm not good at school. Maybe I'm not intelligent. All of those things, all those doubts started creeping in. But my husband encouraged me, if this is something you really want to do, you're going to do it and you're going to figure out a way to do it. And by the next day, I had like researched for like 24 hours straight. I found an online school that I could go to and still be a stay-at-home mom because I was still at home with my kids during this time. And long story, I completed my bachelor's degree in teaching credential. It was a 4-year program. I completed it in 2 years. I was taking 20 units a semester while at home with my kids. And it was the next step for me in growing in confidence into who I was. Because again, I knew and I had conquered something that originally I was afraid to do. And I really started believing not about that I was intelligent or capable, but that I did have like these gifts inside of me, that the design work helped me get to that place where I felt confident enough to try to go through school and be a teacher again. So when my baby started kindergarten, I started student teaching, and I am still a teacher. I love teaching. It is my passion. I love working with students. I currently teach high school, and I can't let it go. I love it. I love it with all of my heart. Well, I guess with most of my heart, and the other part of my heart, I just love my brand book, which I swear I'm getting to. It's coming. But teaching over the last 8 years now has really taught me about the value of human connection and how individual attention and work can help a person flourish. Yes, I'm teaching a whole, but the individual matters so much. And all of those things really helped me see that clearly. Now, let's talk about the strategy photography part, because people are probably wondering how in the world this fits in. When I was doing the design work, I had to learn to photograph my pieces. Like that was essential for me. So I got a camera, took courses, figured out how to use my camera. That skill and that part of that work, I never faded. I liked still taking photographs. I would take photographs for friends, for families. I kind of kept that up as like a side hustle through my teaching. And the last maybe 3 years ago, I started photographing a couple women that I knew needed more like elevated headshots. And I started working with them, and it like unlocked something in me that I didn't know I wanted. By pursuing this thing, I found my passion, which I think is really interesting about our journeys, because oftentimes we're working towards what we perceive as an end destination or an end goal. And I work with my clients a lot to remind them that just pursuing a specific journey helps you go on roads that you didn't know you were meant to take. But if we continue onward and forward, we really find those things. And that's what happened to me. I started photographing women. A lot of the women that I were working with did not understand how to successfully brand themselves. I didn't even know what branding was at the time, but I knew what I needed to do. So I started researching, taking classes, watching things online, helping to just help strategize with my individual clients. It wasn't even a formal part of what I was doing at the time. Through that, my business, I mean, I don't even know how else to say it other than like kind of blew up and turned into something that I never imagined. because what I do now and what happened through those like initial photography sessions, so through those initial just like trying to help women figure stuff out, is I now help women transition this business into an actual functioning brand. I help them gain clarity on all of the essential framework and foundations that a brand really needs to have tailored to what they do, and to really help them grow in confidence in what they offer through clarity, organization, and strategy. And I really pride myself in helping women discover the soul of their brand. That's through owning our journey. That's through looking back on the things that we've been through, why we're pursuing what we do. And really also deciding that we're not going to be limited by those things that we initially, the preconceived notions that we initially thought, like, I don't want my picture taken. What I do is just a side hustle. There's so many other people doing what I'm doing. I'm worried what that person might think of me. I'm worried what this group of people might think of me. Those limiting beliefs are, my guess is, for most of us women, a part of our mental wavelengths and space that we don't even think about anymore, because there's such a constant interference in our daily plans, let alone like our business plans. And I don't believe that if we don't deal with those things, I don't care what strategy I give you, I don't care what framework I do, I don't care what photographer you hire, anything else, you will not be as successful as you possibly can if you don't decide to get over those things. It's not a feeling. Like, we don't like feel like we need to get over those things, because most of the times we're not going to feel like it. We have to make those decisions to push through those things, to then want to build those strategic frameworks to be successful in our business and marketing and brands. And so it has just birthed this passion in me to help women work through those things, to then build a successful strategy and a brand, to own what they do, to feel successful in what they do, and feel organized in the way in which they're going to present their brand to their audience. So, man, that was the long-winded version, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know I've already shared this with you, but I think it's so incredible that you felt like you were not a great student and that's not what you wanted to do, and school was not your thing. And you went from that to becoming a teacher, becoming the one that shares knowledge with students and teaches students and guides them through the curriculum or through life. And I feel like teachers, they really are life coaches for a lot of kids, and they do work with them through a lot of things. And I think that's so inspiring that you're able to reflect upon that and then actually commit to that dream. You know, when you came home and said that you wanted to be a teacher, the fact that you were home full time with two of your kids full time, one part time, and finished a 4-year program in 2 years just speaks to the passion and the drive that you have when you find that that thing that brings you so much joy and so much fulfillment, and how badly you want it. And I think that's absolutely incredible. And even from the sewing piece of it, it's just, I always feel that we don't, the creative side of things for us as humans and as people, I feel that that's not always as promoted as the academic side of things, right? So I always find that when you're growing up, you're kind of asked, what school do you want to go to? What do you want to study in school? What do you want to do in university? But the academic, the art side is seen almost like an extracurricular activity. It's for fun, if you can go, if you can afford to go. But there's so much talent in there that I feel like we're missing and people haven't tapped into. And I think it's incredible that you actually found that in the work that you're doing. And the fact that you were asked to be on Project Runway twice, I know, tons of people, they work their whole life knowing they want to do this and they work towards that goal, and you just wanted to create clothes for your kids, and that grew into that. Yeah. And I think that's incredible. So now that you have, you have the clothing, the sewing and the clothing brand, and you have the brand that you have now with helping women, and you have your teaching, how do you manage to maintain a positive mindset despite the challenges? Because, I'm sure not every single day is a great day. but how do you maintain that positive mindset? How do you ensure, especially working with other women, how do you ensure that you're able to share with them how to maintain and look at the positive side of things when there are challenges, even though it's okay to, you know, be frustrated or to see the challenge? How do you actually maintain that mindset where you're able to align yourself back and check in with yourself to say that, you know, this, I am on the right path here. I am continuing to
Mm-hmm.
work towards my mission and my goals and my why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, I have to say that like I very clearly know my why and my mission. And I think that a lot of people, I actually just wrote about this today, so it's fresh on my mind that a lot of people can like they know in their heart why they do what they do, and they know in their mind, but they can't really clearly articulate it. And I did so much, have done so much work. Like I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. So throughout my day, in regards to like time management, decisions, what I'm putting energy towards, if it doesn't support my mission, I'm not going to invest time in it. And I think that oftentimes our negativity or our challenges come when we feel too diversified in our attentions
Yeah.
or in our work, or we get stressed, right? And I mean, please, I do get stressed, but I'm making constant decisions on like, does this support my mission or not? Because if it doesn't, why am I going to do this? Like, why would I put extra effort, energy, or attention into that? So I think like number one, understanding your mission and your why, and making sure that what you do or what you don't do is in alignment and support of that. Secondly is I think that we really need to remember that our daily decisions and our big decisions are sometimes about choices, not about feelings. And I mentioned that before, but like I may not feel like I want to do X, Y, and Z for this part of my business or this part of my teaching or this part of my parenting or anything. But like, is it a choice that needs to be made? Is it something that needs to get done? I may not feel like it, but it's okay to have to make that choice. You know, I think that we really rely on our feelings too much. And like, I am a feely person, so I'm not trying to be cold about it, but like, I don't feel like a lot of the real true things in life come down to our feelings. Like, I feel like my relationships are a choice. Like, love is a choice sometimes, not a feeling.
Yeah.
And if I rely on my feelings too much, I don't really trust the trajectory of the path that I'm on. So I think that we have to remember some things need to get done and some things are choices, and that's okay. But if you're in alignment with your mission and your why, you're going to be meeting those things. And the third thing is like, I just feel like keep things in perspective. Like, and I work with my clients on all of these things a lot. Like, I enjoy my life. I set aside time to like savor this amazing, beautiful life that I have. I work hard. I mean, I have literally two full-time jobs in addition to like the mother part of my life. I work really hard, but I enjoy my life so much. And if I'm not taking time to enjoyment, and I'm talking about beyond self-care, like that's such a term thrown around a lot, which that's great. But I'm not talking about like taking 30 minutes and getting like a manicure. Like, that's not what I mean for me in regards to like enjoying my life. Like, I want to enjoy the quality of my life, the quality of my relationships consistently throughout my day. I don't want just like a Saturday spa day. Like, that's fine. But like, I every day want to make sure that I'm enjoying my life. And so I really put value on making sure that that's a consistent part of my life, not just like a once a month activity.
That's my daughter.
Oh,
She broke into the office. Sorry.
I can't believe it. I don't care. I can't believe it hasn't happened to me already.
Yeah, it's the first time it's happened.
Oh, I love it.
And she's like, Mama, Mama. Yeah, so yeah, I think that that's incredible. I love that you say that you try to enjoy your life, and I think that that's the piece that I think a lot of us as women, we get into, you know, we decide that we want to create this thing for ourselves, whether that's a business, whether that's making a decision to be a stay-at-home mom, or whether that's, a decision to take some time out for yourself. But regardless of what we do, we're doing it all because we want to take care of ourselves. We want
Mhm.
to create both quality time with our families, but also just the time period, having that
Right.
freedom of time and not feeling like you're trying to always keep up with everything. And for me personally, I know that I started this brand and especially this podcast because I wanted to share stories like yourself that inspires other women to know that they can achieve these dreams that they've set forward for themselves. And, I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of the time some women may think that they have to devote 1,000% to their families and forget about themselves and their own dreams. And this is just showcasing that no, you can continue to achieve your dreams while being a mom. And it's okay to have a life beyond just being a mom. And I feel like the guilt is always there. I mean, I have it all the time where I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm in the office working and I can hear my daughter and I'm like, all I want to do is go downstairs and hang out with her, but I need to do
Mhm.
this because for now, these are the difficult things that I need to do. And I need to spend my time doing these difficult, challenging things because in the future, I will create that time freedom for myself where I can then enjoy, my life and I can enjoy the quality of time with you. And if I want to spend the whole day with you, it could be done without any guilt. And because I work full
Right.
time, during the day, my day job, it's I always have felt in being an employee, I've always felt kind of stuck or restrained into my
Mhm.
seat and in my desk. And with COVID, although COVID is a tragedy and it's a completely horrible thing, I think the positive side of it is that a lot of employers have embraced online remote work, and
Mhm.
my employer has been one of those. And I'm so grateful for it because that on its own has given me so much flexibility and so much extra time, not commuting, not
Right.
getting up, not doing all those little things. And actually, I did it last week where I got up and I got dressed and I was out the door and I was driving and then I went home
Mhm.
and then I realized, wow, that was an additional. And I don't live far from my work; it's only a half-hour
Right.
drive. But I was like, that all in all, on its own was about a 2 to 2.5 hours
Yeah.
commute and time of my day. And now I get to just, roll out of bed and walk over to my desk in my
Yeah.
pajamas and do my work. And it's just
Yep.
that on its own is so amazing. And something you said earlier about your why, I think that it's so important. And like you said, it's so true that a lot of people have an idea of, why
Mhm.
they do something, or, because they're passionate, or this, brings them fulfillment. But to articulate exactly what that is so challenging and so hard. And I am a huge proponent of having your own mission statement in life, and having your why statement and having it
Right.
be like on your wall where you can see it every single day. And you do you when you're making decisions, you look at that and say yes or no.
Yeah.
And and for me, just starting this, and I'm sure you can probably attest to this with many of the women you work with too. Me starting this, you get into the online space and you see what everybody is doing and everyone else is doing, and you get pulled in multiple different ways. And you're like, okay, maybe I should do this, or I should do this, or I should do this, or this person's presenting me with this opportunity, or that and that. But you can get sucked into that, and then you can get to a place where you've completely moved away from why you started something, what brought you purpose, what
Mhm.
brought you happiness and fulfillment. And for me personally, I've definitely experienced that. And because I have my why right next to me on the wall, I always look at it, and like you said, you ask yourself, is this going to get me to my why? Is this going to get me to,
Mhm.
is this within my mission of what I'm supposed to be doing right now and where I am in life and what I want to do? And if not, then it's probably not the right opportunity for you right now.
Right.
But yeah, I absolutely love that you shared that. And what are some pieces of advice that you would give actually to women that are just starting um, in their entrepreneurial journey now, or just trying to figure out what else they could do to bring fulfillment into their life and to reach some of those dreams that they've had?
Mhm. So, um, I think that a lot of us get started in something that ends up picking up pace quicker than we anticipated. Maybe you're making a product that you like take my sewing, for example, right? I was making something, it turned into something bigger than I expected and quicker than I ever expected. I never took the time to go back and identify a foundation that is totally essential for any businesswoman. I don't care what you're doing. And I think that one of the best tips and where I work with all my clients is going back to some of those foundations. I think that you should pause and make sure, obviously, I really do think everything starts from your mission and your why. But then you have to go back to who are you serving? How are you serving this? How are you serving them? You need to identify what kind of brand personality you want to have. You need to go through specific phrases that you're using. How are you going to present yourself? There is a significant amount of strategy that should go into your framework. No matter where you're at in your journey, if you haven't paused to do that work, I think everyone should pause and do that work. For my clients, I work with them. They get, for my photography clients that are working with me for branding, they get a 5-page, it's a customized brand identity guide. And it makes my clients work. It's not just about me working. You need to go through and identify those things, because if you can't clearly articulate them, you're building on a shaky foundation and you're building up something that is sure to fall in some areas along the way. And it also doesn't create a strong foundation for any shifts in your journey that you may want to take in your business. You consistently want to make sure that that core brand framework is solid and really represents who you are. So, and then for my clients, I do one-on-one branding strategy sessions. That's what we do too. We go through all of those components to make sure that you have a rock solid foundation to build whatever you're going to build upon. And a lot of women, organization is not a strength for everybody, and that is fine. That's why there's people to assist you in organizing those things in your business. But I do think that it's really important to be clear on your organizational structure, so you have clarity with each of your daily decisions, have clarity with the content that you're putting out, with the packages, with what's on your website. I think that is an investment of time in that way, or an investment in a strategist or coach in that way, is really invaluable to long-term success.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that having a coach, and I always say this actually, that we pay, when we go through university for a bachelor's degree or a diploma or whatever, we kind of just go for it. We don't, most of the time, we're not looking at how much it is, right? We're like, okay, I need this because this is going to get me to this job. So you're investing in 4 years or 2 years for a particular job or a particular role in an industry. But there's so much out there in terms of coaches, and that will drive you and to push you a lot further into finding your dreams and finding that fulfillment for yourself, and even that self-education piece. I think there's so much that's available for you to really connect with yourself. And I love that you say that you bring soul into the businesses that you work with, and the women you work with, for them to bring soul into their business, because I feel that you need to, like you said, you need to connect with yourself first. And I love that you have the brands that you work with do that, because you need to understand who you are as a person and what's most important to you and what drives you and motivates you, and then how that's going to show up in your business and how that's going to show up in your brand and the clients that you work with and the customers that purchase your products or your courses and all of that. And I love that. I absolutely love that, because I think it's so important to really know who you are as a person before you begin doing a business or building a business for yourself, because you can get to a place where you've built this business and it's still not bringing you fulfillment. It's still not, it ends up being more work than you thought it was going to be. You lose steam, and you end up questioning why you're doing it in the first place. And and I feel like if you do the leg, like you said, all women need to have that foundation in a business, any business. And I feel like that's one of the big ones is a lot of times you hear that you need a business plan, you need, financial plan. but I feel like you need a personal soul plan, and you need a plan to figure out who you are, and how you're going to do some of that alignment and checking in with yourself and your mind and your soul
Right.
also.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. So it's so essential because I think, what I do is it's not mindset work. It's not a business plan. It's a fusion, a hybrid
Yeah,
of the two because in it, you do need both of those things, but I don't think the mindset soul searching is all you need, but I don't think a financial business marketing plan is all you need. You really
yeah,
need two. And I'm a firm believer that they are fused together
yeah.
and they should be integrated. I think that when we separate who we are from what we do, we fail ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
So,
I 100% agree with you that you need both, and it's definitely
mhm,
a fusion. And yeah, I feel like you can separate what you do from who you are because you're doing what you do. It feels
right.
like it's like, how do you remove yourself? I mean, I would say, like, if as an employee for myself, I'm able to do that a bit because I'm able to walk away, right? It's not my business. It's not, I'm off at 5 o'clock. I'm off at 5 o'clock. I'm not looking
Right.
back. It's not. I'll clock in and I'll clock out. But when it's your own
Mhm.
personal business, there is no clocking in, clocking out. It's always a part of you. It's who you are, and it's in your mind, and you're the one that's driving the the car essentially to figure out where
Mhm.
you're going next and what you're doing. And yeah, and I absolutely love what you have to share, and I think that that's incredible that you're inspiring so many women to bring that into their business. And
Mm.
I've absolutely loved your story, and I really want to know if you could go back to that moment when you were kicked out of college. What would you say to yourself knowing now what
Oh,
all that you've achieved?
oh my gosh, that's a really good question. It's very hard to not have regrets in your life. I think about like even the time I wasted, the money I wasted, and it's very hard for me to say I wouldn't do anything differently. I know that's not what you're asking me, but my mind wants to go there. As like
Yeah.
a hard worker now, I guess I would just tell myself that keep walking onward, keep journeying forward, that the best for me is yet to come, and that I will consistently be growing into the best me. Because I don't think that
Mhm.
I'm like at my end destination. Like, I just want to keep journeying forward. And that would be really important for me to remember that, like, keep walking forward, one step in front of the other right now. You're going to get to where you're going to continue to journey onward into an amazing journey of your life.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I think that's exactly it, is that it's hard to not have regrets, but those are the
mhm,
experiences that really push you forward and, get you to the trajectory of life that you're supposed to be on, and get you to where you're
right.
supposed to be. And I feel the same way. I mean, in my first semester of university, I failed out of two classes, and I just, because, like you said, I just was not into it. I was like,
Mhm,
I can't do this, and I was in pre-med, so my whole family was like,
mhm.
"Oh, we're gonna get our first doctor out of the family and everything," and I was like, I thought this was for me, but it's not,
Yeah.
and I don't think I want to do this. And I fell in love with public health, and I fell in love with helping the masses. And now that I'm looking back on my life and during my mat leave, and from Canada, so our mat leave is
Mhm.
18 months. It's pretty long, so
Oh
I
my
had a
gosh.
lot of time to self reflect. But I knew that when I went on my mat leave, I had one goal other than raising my daughter. My goal was that I needed to figure out what my purpose in life was, and I need to figure out what is it that my dream is, and what do I want to how do I want to showcase myself to my daughter. Like, when my daughter grows up, I want her to look at me and be like, well, my mom followed her dreams, that she never limited herself. And that was my biggest motivating factor. And for me, I realized that you have to go back to those moments, when you're
Mhm.
younger and there's challenges and you're like, what is going on? And I remember out of high school, the only program I applied to was broadcast journalism. And my
Mm.
parents were mortified. that's what I applied for, because they were like, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. And I was like,
Mm,
okay, I'm not going to do any of those. And I remember in high school, I wanted to rebel against them. So I think I missed like 60 or 70 days of high school, which was a lot. And I applied for
okay.
broadcast journalism, and that was a 4-hour drive away. And so my parents were like, what happened to you? And I realized that in that moment that I was going through that little bit of like a crisis in my senior year. And I realized that that was the journey that I wanted to take, was to go
Mhm.
into having some sort of avenue or some media or some platform to share stories and to inspire. And I had to go back to my college admission letter, and that's what I wrote about. And then I got back
Oh,
and I came back
wow.
all these years later, and I realized during my mat leave, I was going back to all those things that I said, and I realized, okay, this has to be my purpose. Like I'm just going to go
Mhm.
for it and see what happens. And I launched the podcast, and it's brought me so much joy and so much
Mhm.
fulfillment. And I have met amazing people like you and heard amazing stories that have inspired and impacted people that are listening. And I think that, like you said, like once you know, and you just have to figure out how do you get there.
Mhm.
And you've showcased that both with your sewing and your clothing business, both with being a teacher, and how the stars actually have to align for you to become the substitute teacher last minute, and then how that
Mhm.
totally changes trajectory of your life.
Right.
Um, and I think that that's what's amazing about the world and about the universe, is that things happen and things come to you at a time that you need it, and then it's up to you to take the action and actually make it happen and to
Right.
create that for yourself.
Yeah. Just what you were saying about the opportunities available. I think that's why it's so important for us. Like, do not mute those little voices in
Yeah,
your head that are requesting you to give them attention.
yeah,
There are things in our life that like we're feeling a tug, and maybe we don't even know where it's going to lead, and we're feeling this pull to do more, but we're not sure how. Do not silence those things. I think it's
yeah,
so important to listen to the small voices, to the small intuitions that are beckoning us to grow. And then, like we've been talking about, make the choice to pursue it. Even if you're not sure where to start, even if
yeah.
you're not sure how, there's always small things you can do to take a step forward in that journey and in that pulling that's calling you to stop being small, that's calling you to be more than you were the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true. It's You have to listen to those voices, and nothing is ever out of reach. You can
Mm-hmm.
achieve it, and like you're a perfect example of that. I'm still in awe of you that you finished a 4-year degree in 2 years with 2 kids. Because I'm thinking, like, with one kid right now, I'm like, I don't know if I could do even a 4-year degree. Um, so I think that's absolutely amazing and totally inspiring. And I hope that anyone listening here knows that you can create that time for yourself. And one of the things that I've always heard is that if you ever want anything done, give it to a busy mom. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe in that, because I feel like you will make the time when you are busy, or it could be just a busy person. It doesn't have to be a busy mom,
Mm-hmm.
but when someone's
Mm-hmm.
busy, they need to take something else on. They can do it, but it's when you're not busy, or you're not sure if you can take it on, that all those doubts and those limiting beliefs come in. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel, and I'm a huge believer, that you can create anything you want. You will be able to find the time to do it. You just have to know if that's what you want to do, and if that's something you want to commit to,
Right.
and commit your time to. Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah. Well, we've had an amazing conversation. I'm so
Yeah.
inspired, and I love when we talk about soul and your intuition and following your dreams and your guidance. And I can only imagine the amazing conversations that you have with women that you help, and I think it's absolutely inspiring. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I really really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I am always grateful to be able to share my humbling experiences that have helped me along this path. So,
Yeah, yeah, I think it's incredible. I definitely, as I have more kids and as I continue on this journey, your story will definitely be in the back of my head to
oh,
think, if I ever say to myself, "Oh, I can't do it," I'll be like, "Alexis did it, so
yeah.
you can do it." Yeah.
Thanks. That's good.
Yeah. So I'll tag Alexis on the show notes as well as on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And if you have any questions, please send me a note, or you can message Alexis directly, and I'll have her Instagram and her website and all her contact information available for you too. But yeah, thank you so much for having this conversation
Yeah,
with me. It's been so amazing.
it's been so wonderful. Thank you for having me and for just continuing a conversation about listening to those ways that we're being called to grow. I really appreciate the chance to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.